Welcome, colleagues. Thank you for your dedication today and for taking time for your professional learning with Solved. Our session this afternoon is part of a module of teaching across learning environments that's face-to-face, hybrid, and remote. And this is course B, though you do not have had to have taken course A to understand the key concepts and apply them. My name is Helene Alaluf. I'm a consultant with Solved. I taught for 32 years in the Yonkers school system, and I have mentored national board candidates as well. To build community in the chat, would you please post 3 items you would bring if I summoned you to our circle of learning? So I would bring my knitting needles, a book to read, and photographs of my family. What would you bring? Please put that in the chat. The concept of today's building community is getting to know your students or getting to know your colleagues so that you can do lesson review and peer feedback with each other. And I hope to get to know you. Yes, the question is on the shared screen. What 3 items would you bring when I summon you to our circle? A notepad, a pen, and a cup of coffee. Okay, so you're taking care of learning and you're taking care of your nourishment and energy. Okay. Okay. These are our norms. Thank you for being here. We're going to start on time, and thank you for taking an inquiry stance. As I said, this is the second course in a series on teaching across learning environments. I will post the link again for the note catcher, so you'll have a personal record as well as be able to follow along. Here's our agenda. We're going to look at the key elements for creating and supporting a welcoming environment so all students can thrive and learn. The work is mostly based on the 4 constants by Vinay. And you've got your note catcher to guide you along. Whoops, sorry, go back up. Go back up. Okay, in your note catcher, the first activity has 4 statements for you to indicate true or false. So you can mark it in your note catcher, or if it's easier, in the chat. Is anyone having difficulty accessing the note catcher or seeing the screen? And thank you. If you're able to have your camera on, that's wonderful, so I can see you and we can build our community. If you're just joining us, there are 4 statements to indicate true or false. They're also in the note catcher, which is in the chat. It will ask you to make your own copy. Just take another half a minute, and then we will go over the responses. And if your response differs from what I suggest, it's an opportunity to reflect and think about another viewpoint. So the first one is true. The second one is true. The third one is false. And the fourth one is false. Let's take a deeper dive. So what is it about a positive climate and a sense of community in the classroom and within the school and within your district that supports students with retention, both in terms of staying in school as well as learning the material for long-term transfer and academic success? According to the impact of school climate on student well-being, a positive school environment supports students emotionally, socially, and academically, and therefore students are engaged, they have good morale, they have greater achievements, and reduced incidences of absences and violence. In the second one, that's also true, because a safe and inspiring learning environment communicates expectations. There's respect among everyone, and accomplishments and effort are recognized. The third one is false, because it's not a matter of one set of interactions being more significant or more important than another. They both have a place. But when students have peer interactions, that is, when they have a chance to discourse with their classmates, even from kindergarten all the way up, they have opportunities to see different ways of solving problems, different ways of explaining things. They can address their misconceptions, they can practice their language, and they can solve problems together. And in a learning community, you can have social support, but you can also have academic support. And we're going to look at some ways of making those connections. But my favorite way, besides Digital Promise, is KAGAN, K-A-G-A-N, which has over 200 cooperative structures and protocols to support students socially and academically. The work of Vinay on equity-centered, trauma-informed practices might be perplexing to you, but we do recognize that after COVID, and even before that, so many of our youngsters and scholars have difficulty learning in school because of outside influences. A trauma-informed school promotes a safe and welcoming climate through building classroom community. A safe school means that there is structure, there's predictability, there's flexibility, and students and teachers are empowered. These four constants were identified by Alex Chevron Vinay in her equity-centered, trauma-informed educational materials. And again, they are connections, empowerment, flexibility, and predictability. And we're going to investigate each of these. I'll give you a mini lecture about them, and then you'll have a chance to access a Padlet and choose whichever one of these four you want to take a deeper dive. And then we'll go into breakout rooms, and you'll have a chance to talk to each other. So when we're talking about connections, there's teacher to student, student to student, student to school and community, and teacher to school and community. In your note catcher, you have a place to write down some ideas as they surface through the video, through our discussion, and through your own experiences, please. Let me just admit a few more people. Here is the link once more to the note catcher. According to a survey in Education Week, many educators believe that a sense of belonging in school is very important, but they think it's challenging and they need strategies in order to establish and increase belonging. You might be shaking your head. You might be one of those teachers, or you might have good relationships in your classrooms and you're looking for some more ideas. You've come to the right place this afternoon. To support students and achieve connections, we can do the following. We have to plan those opportunities. Let me just stop sharing for a moment because I'm going to switch screens. Make sure everyone has caught up with me, that you are in your note catcher. We're going to have a share out after the video of those 4 different interactions. So as you watch the video, pay attention to relationships, environment, interactions, and mindset. Those are the things that I've noted on your note catcher as well. I'll repeat them. Relationships, environment, interactions, and mindset. Now I'm going to switch to the video.
What does it mean to make the world a better place?
Can I get a thumbs up if you can hear and see the video, please? Thank you.
So those are those big questions we're focusing on. For me, being trauma-informed has so much to do with mindset, accepting that different people come into a school setting with incredibly varied life experiences. Some of those life experiences may be traumatic, and the way in which that plays out in my particular classroom could look a number of ways. And by me having that lens, it makes it less about are they doing the right thing or the wrong thing, and more about where is that behavior coming from? Why is that happening?
Adverse childhood experiences like poverty, neglect, exposure to violence can bring about overwhelming stress, which can cause negative effects on the learning brain and on behavior. If children have the experience of adversity, they will have uneven development of these foundational skills like self-regulation and executive function or relationship skills. These are the children who are at risk to fall further and further behind. But the good news is that there is a powerful antidote to stress, and that is the effect of the human relationship and the presence of trust. Schools are an ideal place to produce many different kinds of relationships that are capable of buffering stress. Schools themselves can be healing places. If you're fearful, if you're anxious, if you're distracted about something that's happened to you, you literally can't learn. Your brain shuts down. So it's essential to give kids social and emotional tools that allow students to recover from the challenges that they have experienced. Take actual classroom time to work on the building blocks of how to perceive your emotions, how to talk about them, how to get along with other people, how to take a moment and become calm when you need to, how to express your needs so that others can meet them. When we start to understand what it takes to be responsive to the effects of trauma, we need to think about the environment, about individual services, and we need to think about the skills and mindsets of kids that won't develop as they should when they're impacted by trauma.
I do a lot of work around self-awareness and being able to name emotions and then make a choice around those.
When I get mad, I take deep breaths, and that helps me get more calm.
Many of the things that we think about doing for kids who may have experienced trauma are good for everybody, and everyone will encounter some kind of adverse circumstance at some point in their life. And for some children, we're helping them deal with what's already happened in their lives. For others, we're preparing them to deal with the challenges later in their lives.
If you can hear my voice say, "We are awesome."
Thanks for watching. I'm going to ask you to turn to your note catcher now, and I'll show you what that looks like. This is activity 2, the share out after the video. Here's a chance for you to type in the chat if you wish, or on the note catcher, or both places. What strategies do you use to make the different types of connections in relationships, in environment, in interactions, and in mindset? Take a minute to jot down any ideas here, and I will call out from the chat whatever I notice. And if you want to unmute and share an idea of how you form connections in your classroom, like I mentioned Kagan structures before, please feel free to do so. For those of you just joining us, here's a link to the note catcher once more. We're on activity 2. How do you make connections? Thank you, Tina. Take time to draw from personal experiences. Getting to know our scholars is very important. And it's not something that we just do the first day of school when we're in a circle and I say, I'm happy, Helene. We're using that opportunity at least once a week to build classroom community. And every time we want to turn and talk and cooperative groups, we want to reinforce the idea of getting to know each other as people and understand what our barriers to learning might be and how to overcome them as well. Use their interest to build connection, Isabella offers us. Thank you. That's so important. And we don't want to only focus on what they're interested in. We want to expand their range of interests. But knowing that Michael likes cars and he's a reluctant reader, I could find a biography about the Formula 21 race that's going on and engage him in that way. So that's very important, Isabella. Thank you for pointing that out. And then when students know each other's interests, they can form groups. I had a friend when I was teaching in Yonkers who did a project called Connecting Biographies. Students found a common interest and formed literature circles to read biographies of different people in their area of interest. It was highly engaging. Using television, using music. I invited my principal once to teach a lesson to my English class, and he used the lyrics of music to teach poetry. That's a great idea, Tina. Thank you. And in literature circles, we have illustrator as well as lexicographer and researcher. You're going to get more ideas if you choose to delve into connections. And then this is just an idea, if you bring this back to your PLCs or your team meetings, to share options with a sentence stem. And that's a way of helping students to make connections with the content. I create connection in relationship between student and community by establishing essential questions, or I create connection by applying Kagan's structures. And humor. I'm so glad you mentioned that, Anna. My principal, Pat DeChero, blessed memory, she used to say to me, Helene, you need to use more humor. I was such a serious person. Thank you for mentioning that. Okay, we're going to go into some of the other constants or priorities, as Vinette calls them. And this one, I know you know, is so important. But maybe you don't realize what the research says about it. Let me go into my slideshow. Okay, do you see the predictability? Michelle, do you see the predictability? Excellent, thank you. So predictability is another constant. Connections was one, predictability is the second constant. By constant, we mean a priority that should be in every lesson, in every day. We want students to feel connected to each other and to us and to the community, and we want predictability. We get uncomfortable, and that interferes with learning when we walk into an environment and we don't know what to expect. So knowing what to expect, the learning expectations or learning targets are always in the same place on the same section of the classroom. Or I know that my lessons are always going to be I do, we do, you do. But sometimes I'll tell the students, today we're going to have discovery first. So they know what that means. Or I'm going to say turn and talk. They know what that means, that there's going to be a time limit. They take roles. They know who's going to speak first. They know what there is an outcome or a product that they have to produce, such as an idea or brainstorm. Predictability means having consistent instructional routines and procedures. And that takes away the cognitive load and uncertainty and optimizes student learning because they know what to expect. Flexibility, or you might call it differentiation, where you vary the physical environment. You might have standing whiteboards instead of students seated for collaboration. You might have heterogeneous or random groups or homogeneous depending on academic need. You might have tiered learning tasks, above average, average, and in need of support with more scaffolding. So there are various ways of differentiating or being flexible. When you're doing your planning, I respectfully advise you, for your professional consideration, think about, where could I be flexible? Where could I adjust the materials, the presentation, the student groupings, or even the outcome? And empowerment is the fourth constant. Empowerment means that students have choice and voice. Do they all have to write about the same pieces of evidence? Do they all have to choose the same literature or math problem? Where can we give them options so that the student feels empowered and I make a choice, and therefore my motivation and my engagement has increased? And we acknowledge. So when they answer right or wrong, we want to follow up with not saying that's right or that's wrong, but perhaps, what makes you say so? Oh, what an interesting idea. Can you tell us more? How did that idea come to you? Or why did you draw that model for that math story? So you're acknowledging and you're listening to them. And you're modeling that so that the students get to listen to each other, which goes back to the first one, making connections with respect for peers. Empowerment has three legs: dealing with academic knowledge, social and emotional skills, and transferable skills. Let's take a look at each of those a little bit more closely, please. With academic knowledge, we're talking about knowledge of the curriculum. Students know, maybe along the soffit of your classroom, you have each topic in the unit, or it's in the front of their loose leaf binder or their work folder, so that they know, just like I showed you the 6 courses in this string.
Oh my God.
Savita, do you have something?
What? Why is it? You don't say it louder.
I'm sorry? Sabita, I missed your question.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. It was answered.
If anyone has a question, feel free to interrupt or put it in the chat. I would love to entertain your questions. Thank you so much. So academic knowledge is identifying the curriculum, the learning targets, the outcomes. Sometimes teachers I mentor will ask me, when should I show students what the final product is going to look like? Or when do I give them the rubric? And my advice is at the beginning, so that we look at exemplars and non-examples and identify with the scholars what the success criteria are. So when students know that, they have an understanding of where they're going. The social and emotional skills that are supported when they are empowered is not only the intangibles like self-confidence, but also the recognition of productive struggle. And I have a whole other seminar on that if you're interested in that for the future. Stamina and stick-to-itiveness, and how to manage emotions, as we saw in the trauma video. The transferable skills are having a growth mindset, the desire to learn, the curiosity that children have at a very young age, that somehow sometimes we get that stifled along the way. But I've been in education 50 plus years. I'm still curious. I have a new book to read. It's called Quality Questioning. It's the 2nd edition by Walsh and Sates. I'm looking forward to reading that. I'm presenting, but I'm also going to learn from you when I pop into your breakout rooms later. So here's your third activity. You're going to get to choose one of those 4 constants to learn more about. There's a link to the Padlet. I'll put that in the chat as well. There's a table to fill out to capture notes if you wish to do that. And then we're going to go into breakout rooms. So you're going to have about 10 minutes of exploration, and then I will open the breakout rooms. The breakout rooms will be numbered 1 through 4. So you will self-select the room that you would like to go to based on which of the 4 constants you worked on. and that was connection, predictability, flexibility, or empowerment. So as an example, suppose I wanted to know more about predictability. Helene said something about routines. I don't understand what she's talking about. I want to know more about that. So I go into the Padlet, and there are several sections. I'll show you what that looks like. And this is what I've learned, that establishing routine builds a sense of normalcy so students know what to expect, and they can respond in predictable ways. One way of doing that is by having a greeting, such as greeting at the door, and exit tickets. Those might be in person, and then a hybrid or remote setting might be in the chat, like I did with us today, asking what would you bring to the circle, and again, having an exit ticket. So let me show you what the Padlet looks like before I send you on your way to study. In the note catcher. And you can scroll back and forth in your note catcher. So we've got connections, predictability, that I captured the slides that I was just showing you, flexibility, and empowerment. So now we go to the Padlet, and here's where you have space to write. Okay, Padlet. Okay. I switched screens. Just give me a shout out if you can see the Padlet, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
So when you click on, so where was I? I was on the note catcher. There was the Padlet. I clicked on the Padlet, and if it's convenient for anyone, I will copy that and put that in the chat as well. Here's the Padlet. So you can see that there are 4 headings for the 4 constants, and in each one, we've selected several sources. You can choose any one to explore. And then in your note catcher, you have a place to write your notes. If you have more time and you want to explore more than one, you can feel to do so. And then I will open the breakout rooms in 10 minutes. Does anyone have a concern or need clarification before I send you to study? We're good? I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes. You have independent study. If anyone's having difficulty maneuvering the Padlet, please let me know. Welcome back. I want to give a shout out to Mark in the predictability group. He talked about the routine of having study buddies. And we talked about the 2-stage exam where students have a chance to self-study and then to study with a buddy who assesses them or repeats the question or reinforces the information. So thank you, Mark, for sharing that out. And I know that Michelle had a lot of ideas about connections because having a classroom.
I'm here.
One of your ideas.
Connections. That's one of the first things that I try to do with my students. I have pre-K 3 to 5th grade, and I have a connection literally with every grade because I make myself known to them. I show them that I care about them. I keep it real with them without divulging too much information, but enough that, oh, wow, she's human too, even though she's an adult. She's a teacher. She gets it. I let them know I do get angry, but then I show them the steps I take when I get angry. I let them know my feelings do get hurt. I am sensitive, but I let them know what I do, and I give them different ways to do it. And if something I can't handle or a little bit too deep for me, social workers and guidance counselors are the best things in the building. So I believe in connection. It makes the classroom better. I'm a para. A lot of my teachers like me to come to their classrooms because they say I have good classroom management. I say no, I have good student one-on-one connections. I don't have classroom management. It's just that I talk to them like people. I'm not yelling at them. I'm not, oh, you don't know how to do this. Oh, do your no, I don't do that. I'd be like, why you don't want to do your homework? Did you get enough rest? Was you up playing Roblox? Like, what's going on? Like, I keep it how they say in the street, 100, and it works for me. So that's all.
You got some love and agreement in the chat and some hearts on the board. I hope you saw
Oh,
that.
thank you guys. Thank you.
We had a lot of people in the empowerment group. Can someone share out an idea that came out of that group, please, from room 4? I don't hear or see anyone. So I wanted to reinforce that I try to present the information today by walking the talk. So how did I incorporate the 4 constants today? We had connections both at the beginning when we talked about what we might bring to the circle, as well as in our collaborative breakout rooms. You were empowered because you got to choose from the Padlet and from the resources there, which constant and which resource you wanted to acquire deeper knowledge, whether it was through reading or through video or through listening through a podcast. There was predictability because I mentioned the agenda at the beginning and I told you what was going to happen. And there was flexibility because you got to differentiate. So thank you so much for participating today. The next thing in your note catcher is the goal setting. Reflect on the practices you discovered today and write a commitment for one action, because we know we imitate only what we believe and admire. To earn more CTLE credits, you can sign up now. There are live links on your note catcher, or you can take the shot for the scanning, and you will be emailed your CTLE credit within 24 hours of this course. If you have any difficulty or any questions about the content or the credit, please email admin@solveconsulting.com. Closing thoughts, anyone? Any questions?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you. This was great. Learned a little bit more.
Thank you. I appreciate you contributing to our fountain of knowledge today as well.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a good day, everybody. Be safe.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
We can share takeaways or we can ask a question at this time.
In regards of the CTLE, we need to fill up any application or it's automatic?
The survey.
Is it in,
Can I answer this question?
is it in the chat?
The fact that you participated in this course will grant you the CTLE certificate. You should receive it in a couple of days automatically in the email address that you use to register for the course. You don't have to complete the survey, even though there is a survey here.
Oh, I'm asking because I did last week also, November 13th, but I did not get the certificate. That's why and there was nothing to fill out.
Okay, can you please put the email that you used to register in the chat here, if you don't mind, and we will check?
Here's the survey. I'm sorry, I thought I had it on the note catcher.
I can put the survey here.
I just put it.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry.
I have to do the survey. Okay.
Thank you, Suha.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's why I didn't get to my last slide with a survey in the Amazon card. I stopped with the CTLE. That was my.
Okay. Is it submitted?
Thank you.
It's the second email.
Helene, I have a question. Is the barcodes that you shared at the end of the slides, are those for the survey or is that attendance?
The barcode are for future courses.
AZUREI.
Oh, okay, okay.
The
All
sur-
right, thank you.
the survey is in the chat. Here it is again.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Once I do this survey, Miss Helene, can I log off?
Yes,
All right. Have a great day.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And a happy Thanksgiving to all. Yes, I should
Oh,
have.
yes. Happy,
You
safe, if
too.
you're
Happy
traveling,
Thanksgiving.
safe travels.
Happy
Happy
Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving,
everyone.
Happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving. Send me some macaroni cheese and apple pie. I'll send my address.
And I also forgot to tell you that if you recommend people who register and take our courses, you're eligible for a $50 Amazon gift card.
I'm going to bring you 10 people right
Nice.
now. Bye.
Wow. Where's my $50? I recommend everybody to come and take these courses.
I have the name of someone who referred me. I'll type it in the chat for you so she can get her gift card.
You need to do that when you register, I believe. But what you can do is you can send admin at solvedconsulting.com an email.
Solveconsulting.com.
So please write to admin at solvedconsulting.com.
Consulting.com.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
And then I have the survey, yeah. Okay. Okay, Isabella, why are you posting your email? Is that for Harris? Are you missing something?
The attendance link?
The survey?
Yeah.
It's in the chat.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I did not.
No
In
problem.
the,
Thank you.
in the survey, are we posting 2 email addresses? Because they have one already. Should we put, it says alternative. Are we supposed to put an alternative?
Because sometimes the DOE doesn't go through to accept the certificate. So if you have a personal one, you could put that one in as well.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for asking, Tina.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm done my survey. So everyone enjoy your Thanksgiving, be safe, and enjoy your families.
Thank you, everybody.
You too. Thanks,
You're
everybody.
welcome. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Lily.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.
Okay, I'm going to end the meeting now. Bye.